This morning, a judge ordered a man accused of stalking Fever star Sophie Cunningham to have no contact with her. Kevin Singh faces multiple stalking, intimidation, and harassment charges. Singh faced a judge earlier today for his initial hearing. The judge is appointing him a public defender. During the hearing, Singh asked the judge for a speedy trial due to not having the money for bond. He also asked for the bond hearing to be tomorrow, which the judge granted. Singh currently has a no bond hold out of Hendricks County for violating his probation.
We've got Rob in today, and really today, not too bad.
Yeah, it is very warm, and we can tell there's more humidity too.
That's right, and he's keeping an eye on the potential for storms tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got a chance this afternoon, but we really think the dynamics are going to be in place for tomorrow. We kind of knew this was going to be a concern, but getting a little closer to the event, we're starting to get some new data in. So let me show you where we are right now, because the heat and humidity that we've been talking about is leading to the radar becoming a little bit more active. We really have it in kind of two parts here. One, farther to the north, where we've been watching some scattered showers and storms near Gas City, let's say, and then crossing Interstate 69 and heading to the east. And then across Indianapolis, things looking pretty good at the moment. I do want to move the map just to show you there are a couple of showers and storms over into Illinois that are producing some lightning and approaching Terre Haute. However, it's one cell over into Lawrence County near Mitchell right now that's on the fairly strong side. Nothing severe at the moment, but these are ones we're going to have to keep our eye on. Looking at the larger picture, you can see that the temperatures have been able to rebound pretty quickly into the 80s for some locations where we're getting just enough sunshine in, and that's causing the atmosphere to destabilize a bit. Now, the severe threat for today is marginal. It's level 1 on a scale of 1 to 5. There's a little bit of a higher threat over into parts of Ohio, but tomorrow that threat goes up a bit to the south, and the reason is because there's a low-level jet, the dynamics are there, and we could get a little spin in the atmosphere. Yes, that means the possibility of tornadoes is a concern for tomorrow. In the meantime, the next few hours, scattered thunderstorms fueled by the heating of the day. Tonight, scattered thunderstorms continuing as we get into the early morning as well. Temperatures into the 60s, and then we'll pick up the shower and storm chance tomorrow. The possibility of severe storms. I'll outline that, what you can expect, and the weekend forecast is coming up.
All right, Rob, thanks. We'll check back. Right now, Airbnb is cracking down on parties at properties that are listed on its site.
The short-term rental company is activating its anti-party technology here in Indianapolis ahead of the 4th of July holiday weekend.
Jenna Webster joins us now live in studio. And Jenna, we've seen quite a few problems with parties at short-term rentals right here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, we've done plenty of stories on this. Most recently in May, a woman died after a shooting at a post-prom party on the north side. Now, that was not an Airbnb, but there are a lot of people concerned about parties at short-term rentals. I was actually just talking to one woman earlier who remembers one last year that spilled into her neighborhood, and she says there was 10 to 15 teens who were shooting at one another. It was a pretty scary situation for her, as you can imagine. So what you're going to want to know, how does this holiday party crackdown all work? Well, Airbnb looks at the length of the trip, the type of listing, the distance between the listing and the guest location, and the date of that reservation. They say last year on the 4th of July, that weekend, they blocked about 100 people in Indianapolis from booking, believing it could have been for an unauthorized party. Now, they're also reminding parents out there, kids, if you're under 18, you cannot have an Airbnb account, which also means you can't book a home. An adult also, you can't book for them either unless you'll be present during the entire stay. Airbnb is warning that if you book for a minor and there's property damage, you could be financially liable. And if police get involved, if there's any sort of issue at an unauthorized party, you could also be liable for any issues during that. I did talk to an Airbnb host earlier who says they've luckily never had any problems in the 10 years that they've been doing this here. So coming up tonight at 6, I'll explain some of his tips, what they do to make sure things are staying safe when they're renting out their home, and also how IMPD is planning to address any short-term rental issues during the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, so there's a kind of complex issue there because there's a lot of different factors. I think it's really interesting when you say that they look at in that equation the distance from where you live to where you're renting. So if you live close, then they think that you're more likely to be hosting a party there.
Yeah, Airbnb wasn't available today to answer some of our specific questions, but I do think that's kind of the idea. If you're kind of going from one neighborhood to the next for only one night, that could signal some trouble for them.
Yeah, and you might know a lot of people around. It's not like you're visiting from out of state and you're just a visitor.
Yeah. All right, Jenna, thank you so much sharing this story with us. And the November election, it's just over 4 months away, and the race for Indiana Secretary of State is entering a new phase.
That's right. So the GOP convention now is in the rear view, and the candidates are now shifting their focus from winning over the party delegates to winning over voters statewide. Republicans selected Max Engling as their nominee. That just happened over the weekend. Our Emily Longnecker was there in Allen County and Fort Wayne when that happened. And now, since then, she has sat down to talk with Engling about his campaign and also what he's hoping to accomplish if, in fact, he is elected.
Yeah, ladies. Well, the Office of Secretary of State oversees Indiana's elections, business services, and securities regulation. And now the nominee hoping to lead that office, Max Engling, is busy introducing himself to voters across the state. I sat down with Engling this morning to discuss his priorities, his plans, and why he believes Hoosiers will send him to the State House this November.
After taking Father's Day off to enjoy celebrating the convention win with his family, Engling says it's now full bore toward November and the general election. That's where he'll face Democratic nominee Bo Bai, Libertarian Lori Schillings, and likely former Republican mayor of Indianapolis, Greg Ballard, who says he's gathered more than enough signatures to get on the November ballot to run as an independent candidate as part of the Lincoln Party. Despite a wide field of candidates, England said he's confident he'll emerge the winner, even among more moderate or libertarian-leaning Republicans.
And I think that whether you are on the more conservative or more moderate side of the spectrum, you want somebody that is going to run the office well. And that is what I bring to the table here. So we're running a tight race to win in the fall, and I believe that every voter, it's great that they have choices, and we feel very strongly that those voters will come to my side to make sure that we can win in November and uphold their values in the Secretary of State's office.
And coming up tonight at 5, we're going to hear more from Engling about his priorities should he get elected. One of the top priorities, he says, is closing the primaries, which would mean that only Republicans could vote for Republicans in the primaries, Democrats could only vote for Democrats. So that's one of his top priorities, and we're going to hear more from him about that.
All right,
Okay.
Emily, thank you so much. We'll look forward to your coverage as it continues later today.